Dominicans in hurricane-affected islands come home through government-chartered flights. The police chief issues a warning to would-be looters, and some Petit Savan residents say they will not leave even as Hurricane Maria threatens. I am Julian Morris with a special edition of the Channel 5 News. Details coming up. Some Dominican nationals residing in Irma-affected countries started returning home on Sunday on flights chartered by government. Idona John Baptist has that story.
Dominicans residing in Irma-affected countries are taking up the invitation by government to facilitate their travel back home. It was a feeling of mixed reactions for some who got emotional upon landing on island. An evening flight at the Douglas Charles Airport was the last flight which brought Dominicans on Sunday from St. Martin. A first flight from Anguilla touched down on Sunday morning at the Canefield Airport, while a mid-afternoon flight brought Dominicans from Tortola. Sharian Ordain has been working in Tortola as a teacher. She has no clue when she will be back on the job since the St. George's Secondary School was not spared during Irma's devastation on the BVI.
It was a very terrifying experience. We didn't have much damage in terms of our home itself. Our master bedroom has 2 French doors, which are big glass doors, so they blew out, and which allowed the wind and all of its force to come into the home. So that's what we got, some flooding. So it destroyed quite a bit of things in our room itself. Took it out with the force of the wind, took them out, like chest of drawers and things like that. But it was minimal damage, more or less. We were able to salvage quite a few things from the room itself, but it was terrifying.
Ordain, along with her husband, had to brave the storm with their toddler girl in their bathroom for hours.
She went into this sort of state of shock. She wasn't speaking, she was just wild-eyed staring. So it was a very terrifying experience, for not just for me, but for her, because I'm trying to be brave and not break down for her, but then she's so scared. She was literally trembling in my arms, and I could do nothing but just hold her close to me. The 3 of us spent about 3 hours in our bathroom. That was the safest place. After the doors went, the wind was in the home, so that's the only place we could go. The wind was strong enough to pull you out with it.
To add to the terror, Tortola also experienced tornadoes with Hurricane Irma. Hurricanes and tropical storms, collectively known as tropical cyclones, provide all the necessary ingredients to form tornadoes.
You were actually seeing trees twisting and wrapping around each other and just uprooting. So, quite a frightening experience.
What's the plan for you now that you've returned?
Well, my husband is still in the BVI, so I'm just going to stay with my mom and my sister. I'm a teacher, so I have no idea when my school will be opened because it has damage. So I'm just going to see just relax a little bit and then see if I can get word from my job.
When Beltane Joseph of Wesley traveled to Tortola 4 months ago, she thought it would be a start to a new life in Hannah's estate.
Why I went up there, my daughter's husband, did sick, so she said I tell him to come because she's a teacher. She up there, she tell him to come up for me to take care of the man. So, is that why, I went up there.
And 4 months after, you have to return home.
I have to. Tortola is just only a ghost town. Tortola is not Tortola again. I did want to get out, and God help us, we get out.
Hurricane Irma was her most frightening storm experience.
The wind started, and the wind just only burst the sliding door we have there. And after the wind burst the sliding door, we just want to see a tornado going, spinning inside of the house. And water just want to start to wash inside the house.
She and her family sought refuge in their restroom for 5 hours.
And if we didn't run inside the toilet, we wouldn't be in it.
How many people were in the house at that time?
6 of us. Yes. And I tell you, it's they that have to give me hand. They that have to give. The younger people? Yes, the younger people. They have to hold my hand like that and pull me on top of bed. And it's so the bed just only go. Fridge, go. Settee, go. Everything go inside of the house.
A curfew could become necessary to avoid lawlessness based on the impact of Hurricane Maria. Prime Minister Skerrit told the nation on Monday he had already alerted the country's president for consideration of a possible curfew if necessary.
The state shall not allow any lawless action in this country. The state is also preparing in advance, and we have prepared all of the necessary legal instruments in the event we have to declare a curfew in either the whole country or parts of the country to avoid any lawless actions by those who wish to engage in such. I have been in touch with His Excellency the President on this matter.
The police chief sounding a no looting warning as the country experiences the effects of Hurricane Maria. All police officers are on standby to secure state property. That includes police officers who were on vacation leave. Looting after such disaster is nothing unusual. Some stores in Roseau experienced such criminal activity during Tropical Storm Erica. Chief of Police Daniel Carbon says that won't be the case this time.
For sure, you will see a heavy police patrol in the city of Roseau. There is not going to be any looting. If the storm passes, we're going to be in control very early, before the storm, during the storm, and after the storm. I briefed my men this morning and I said to them, if mischief makers can venture out during the passage of the storm, we have courageous and brave police officers that can do the same.
The police chief also assured proprietors that there will be strengthened police presence in the main commercial area of Roseau and Portsmouth.
The police force will have men on patrol before, during, and after the passage of Hurricane Maria. The men will be deployed in the city of Roseau and the town of Portsmouth to ensure that business places, and I wish to emphasize business places in the city of Roseau and the town of Portsmouth, to be protected.
Meantime, the Office of Disaster Management is advising the public, if assistance is needed during the hurricane, to contact the emergency 911 hotline or call police at 448-2222, fire and ambulance service 448-2889, and the Office of Disaster Management 448-7777 or 448-4164. And despite repeated warnings from the Prime Minister, the parliamentary representative and local weather experts, some residents of Pitit-Savan have decided to weather the storm in their village. 2 years ago, Pitit-Savan was devastated by Tropical Storm Erica, costing lives and property, forcing experts to declare the place a disaster area. Since then, the majority have been evacuated and are now living in government-assisted housing, while a new community is being built for them in Belleville-Chopin. But with the new threat posed by Hurricane Maria, you would think that those still living there would heed last-minute calls to evacuate to safer communities. A visit there on Monday proved otherwise. If you had any doubts as to whether there were people still living in the Pitit-Savan area, obviously there are people still living here. In the Galba area, for example, we're right here and we met a number of individuals who are still in their homes, still very much comfortable, and definitely from what we're hearing from them, they will not be leaving Galba, they will not be leaving Pitit-Savan. We know that the storm is menacingly close, but these individuals have assured us that they will not be leaving their homes. Galba is one of the first areas we're visiting today, and just to give you an idea, just to show you the effects, what has happened so far, with all the warnings from the parliamentary representative, with all the warnings from the weather officials, we still have a situation here where individuals feel very comfortable that the best place for them to be is at their homes right now. So from what we can gather, they will not be leaving. They will not be leaving their homes at all. Obviously, we've heard from the parliamentary representative, as I said earlier. He's been constantly calling on residents to evacuate, but these people feel, from what they've told us, they feel they didn't want to come on camera, but what they told us, basically what we understand from them is that they're at home, they feel safe, and they intend to ride it out in their homes. We're still in the Galba area. We're visiting another house there, and what we're finding from the people who live here is that they will be staying as well. So far we have gone to 2 homes where we find individuals who will definitely be riding it out. They'll stay right where they are. They don't see any danger. They will be staying here. We were told, though, of course, that there was a bus that left. I'm not sure whether it was the day before, it was yesterday or whenever, but a bus left with a few individuals. So apparently some people have heeded the call to leave and they have left. Others have decided to remain. So you remember not too long ago we met Helena Antoine here, and she spoke with us at length about staying here. But today, here she is preparing. You can see what she's doing. She's preparing her broth. Obviously, Helena is not going anywhere. She, from the looks of it, she's pretty much at home and comfortable. We're downstairs actually, where she feels she's very safe. It's a concrete building. The windows are metal windows, and the metal door right here. And she feels that she's safe here. And from what we can see, Helena is another one of these individuals who will not be leaving. So Helena, how do you feel about that? You've really made the decision to stay?
Yes, I made my decision to stay because not the first time I passing through hurricane. I passed through hurricane so many times, and sometimes I had a smaller house than that. I still stayed there with my children. I had 10 children. We stayed there, nothing to happen to us. Hurricane David, I take it in a open air. Our house that just started, and nothing that happened to us. So, by the grace of God, God don't hate his children. God loves his children. And I believe in him. I have the confidence in him. You see that hurricane that coming here, he's going to melt it out for us. He's not going to give us another one anymore. We cannot take again Dominica. Dominica and Petit Seven. So, first of all, he's going to melt it for us. We'll get a little wind, a little rain, a little thunder, a little lightning. And we are accustomed with those things. Not to say something we did not accustom with. That is something we accustom with. Right now, I'm going to make my broth. And Hurricane David, I had a big pot of bread with fire, and my children don't eat that, eh? So look, today I'm going to make a big broth, a broth for 3 of us, and then we're going to enjoy it and relax ourselves, take our news, monitor everything, and then life is sweet.
Okay.
I have to be praying.
Okay.
Praying in our hearts. I don't have to shout. I pray already. I give God all the glory, and I said him, anything is happening, we have to accept it.
You heard her for yourself. This lady is not going anywhere. She's staying home, and as you can see, she's about to cook a broth, I would say, and that is evidence that she's staying home. Now, we do not want you to forget that the parliament representative has constantly been calling for people to leave, but obviously individuals are making their own decisions as far as that is concerned. You are watching a special edition of the Channel 5 News. Will continue in a moment. Low-lying coastal areas prone to devastation from storm surge and high sea swells have been specially cautioned ahead of the passage of Hurricane Maria. On Sunday, disaster consultant Cecil Shillingford made particular mention of Calibishi on the east coast and Collyho, Dublin, Bioche on the west.
We would like all people living in vulnerable areas, and that could be the waterfront coastal communities, anybody living close to rivers, ravines, waterways, to monitor the activities and take a decision early if you need to move. And we are talking about areas like Coulibistry, Collyho, Dublin, Bioche, Pichelin, Paradise Valley, Bath Estate, Calibishi, which is a very low-lying area on the east coast, Campbell, and we're not actually asking people to move out of these communities. What we are saying is monitor the situation. If you live close to a ravine, watercourse, monitor the height, and at some time make a decision early enough to move into a safe area.
Channel 5 News made contact with the chairperson of the Calibishi Village Council to gauge that community's preparedness ahead of the impact of Hurricane Maria, which was classified as a Category 3 hurricane on Monday afternoon.
From yesterday evening, the DDO and myself, about 2 councillors, we had a speaker. We went through the village and trying to mobilize people, sensitize them, caution them that the hurricane is on its way and that they should be prepared. Today at about 8 o'clock, we went to the flat again and some other parts on higher grounds. We tried to evacuate as much people as we could. You know, everywhere you go, you will meet stubborn people. So we had a few stubbornness, and but mainly the senior citizens were very much concerned about the senior citizens, and those who didn't have family to take charge of them, we had them evacuated to the hurricane shelters. Also, it is nice to know that about 2 workers from the Yes We Care and the social services, they had agreed to take charge of 2 of the senior citizens at the shelters. And I would really like to commend them for that.
And while the low-lying coastal areas are on high alert for damage from wave action, the special disaster areas have also stepped up their hurricane preparation. Chairperson of the Pishney Village Council says the disaster committee there has been proactive in moving the elderly to the emergency shelters in the area.
We have had some showers, heavy showers, from last night leading into today. And the disaster team last night that we had a meeting led by Miss Paula Lope, and they opened all the shelters from last night and informed the people that they should, people that want to come out from their homes, that they should come into the shelter, especially the elderly people that live by themselves. So they did a marvelous job in that, and they went to Maranatha and also informed those people that they should evacuate as well.
And chairperson of the Pidit Soufriere Sansova Village Council says the community worked as a team to ensure, or to secure, I should say, the residents' safety ahead of Hurricane Maria.
We coordinated as a team. We work as a unit to see that all the shelters are open and it is well equipped with whatever stuff that have to be in there. Our elderlies are in shelters and the people are trickling one by one, especially in the main shelter, the Pidit Soufriere preschool. I can see some signs of the wind because there are some trees down there that branches are really breaking up, and we have gusty wind here, some strong wind, rain and so on. But beside that, everything is under control, and we just hope and pray that the best for our village and our people, and Dominica in particular.
To end this special edition of the Channel 5 News, we look at the headlines again. Dominicans in hurricane-affected islands come home through government-chartered flights. The police chief issues a warning to would-be looters, and some Pidit 7 residents say they will not leave, even as Hurricane Maria threatens. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching.